Oh, it's in a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes,
Where was this?
definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to The Wow Pod.
Circumstances. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
All right. And we got a current we got a thing today.
A thing?
A thing.
We got a thing today. Welcome to our thing.
Yeah, a thing. Betsy's bringing this stuff.
This is an offshoot of last week's show about the Tickle King. There's some veiled connections, they say, between him and the star of today's show, but I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you able to find any?
No, there's no hard evidence of that.
The star.
The star of this show. He's a star now. He's always wanted it. Ay.
Jerk off.
Yeah.
But first,
we
need some news.
Weird news of the week.
Yes. So, Betsy.
So much weird news. Okay, mine comes to you from good old Miami Herald. Gainesville is where this is happening. A couple married a long time, get divorced, and it happens. You forget things, right? You forget things. You may not collect all of your belongings, especially if you've been together a really long time. You've had an opportunity to acquire numerous items.
Like my basement?
Right, like my basement.
Yes.
So you...
Should we have a basement off? Who's got 3 fake Christmas trees and never puts one up? This guy.
So I have 2 and I put them both up. So I'm the opposite, actually.
I have 3 and my sisters yell at me every year as to why they don't get put up.
Right.
And I say,
So this guy, they get divorced and he forgets. The problem is she then sells the home and the new owner finds what has been forgotten. And they were stored specimens, mostly tongues, that were stored underneath their home. Okay.
Oh, hey, step 1.
Why under the home? Why are you hiding these?
No. Question 1. Where did you get them?
Yeah.
Why store? What? There are many things in my basement. No human body parts. No animal. Well,
and this isn't in the basement. These were found.
But these are the things that you forget you own.
Right. These were found during an inspection of the foundation.
How do you forget?
Jars of tongues. They were tongues in jars.
Where did he get them?
So she says that her ex-husband worked at University of Florida, and these were part of her research. Listen.
A tongueologist?
Listen. We don't take our research home.
Is it a tongueologist or maybe tonguecologist?
She claims that. Why is she protecting him?
A lickerologist?
Why is she protecting
him?
That
could go 2 ways. It could be about the liquor or like spirits.
Oh.
Or it could probably go other ways too.
Okay, so he moves out. He leaves behind his collection of tongues. It doesn't specify where he got them, just that he was a researcher.
Still in a tongue a day from the college.
What? The college has refrigeration units to store its research materials. He put them under the floorboards into the crawl space below his home.
Sealed in jars.
okay, what kind of researcher?
What was he researching?
What kind of researcher who's researching anything
How
outside
many?
of murder?
How many tongues? Was it like 5 tongues?
It's as a collection.
A collection.
A collection of tongues in
So
jars.
one guy's like, I collect spoons. I collect shot glasses. I collect classic cars. Well,
I store my collection on a shelf in our family room. I store mine in the crawl space under my house. Okay, John Wayne Gacy.
I'll bet he was a hoot at the country club. His collection.
Oh, gosh. So the medical examiner's office says they're going to try to confirm the identity and age of the remains so that they can understand whether or not these people were volunteered into research before or after death.
What if they find out this guy's like been a prolific serial killer?
This is what I'm saying. Why are you protecting him? If your husband, ex-husband, okay.
Well, she's also
She is
protecting herself.
Yes and no. I would claim plausible deniability and be like, that wacko had what under there?
Yeah. Faint.
Yeah.
Oh.
He had tongues? What?
Liquors.
Yeah. Like, and watch, he's probably like a researcher into energy or something.
He needs a liquor license.
Oh my hell. Tongues under your house. Don't protect him, lady. Let's call it what it is.
What if they're really hers?
If he was really...
What if she's a serial killer
and
she's building the slow draw to get him
yeah,
for it? Like she's been
the look on his face when they show up and he's like, you found what at my ex-wife?
He's the one that passes out. She's like that.
Oh.
Like we've talked about doing a show on the Highway of Death up in Canada.
We need to.
And what if it's her?
And she keeps their tongues.
She like takes a trip a couple times a year.
Brings back some jars of tongues.
And is this in Florida again?
Gainesville.
Good God, Florida.
Mm.
Wow. I wonder if living in Florida is like
so that the chicken before the egg theory.
Is it like the Road Warrior? Like there's a whole bunch of guys running around with masks on and
do the crazies flock to Florida, or does Florida make them crazy and they go there for the sunshine? Or is sunshine really bad for you because there's also a prolific amount of like strange, weird things happening in, say, Oregon? Maybe it's the too much or too little.
Oh.
Too
Feast
little.
or famine.
Crazy. Too much. Crazy.
Oh, my goodness.
It's hard to say.
So you need to have a cloudy day once in a while.
Once in a while, just for some perspective.
I could deal with some sun right now, though.
I'm here to tell you.
This cold is kicking my butt.
I'm ready for summer.
Oh, all right. I got a fun one.
What you got?
My story's a month old.
That's all right.
But
if it's good,
it's a joyous story. I'm going deep into news. This comes off the Country Rebel.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a clothing company, but I've seen it on other, it was on Australian news shows and humana, but I opted to go off the Country Rebel clothing company. I don't know what they sell. Maybe they sell nice clothes. Anyway, so down in Australia, that's what you call other side upside down Florida. There's
the other Florida
nearing a campsite in Port Hedland or Headland. I don't know how Australians would say it. Headland.
Port Hedland.
It's like a campground, and there's been a pig. There was a pig that was, visiting all the campsites.
Feral.
Rooting through their stuff.
Feral or released domestic?
It's the same thing. Pigs go feral quick. They're like 5-year-old boys,
Yeah, pigs are pigs.
Ignore them for a day and you got to start over. And
How to Train Your Pig, never stop.
Yeah. Anyhow, so these campers went to bed and left an 18-pack of beer. What's that Australian beer? Foster's.
Foster's. Australian for beer.
Left an 18-pack of Foster's next to their tent. Well, this pig came and got into it and massacred this 18-pack.
Just chewed through the cans?
Oh, I'm sure.
They're fierce animals. Very strong-jawed.
Yeah, so the pig got drunk.
Oh, my hell. He drank it?
Ran around for a spell. Started a fight with a cow. And then passed out.
That pig is my spirit animal. Started a fight with a cow.
The poor...
Oh. And then he's hungover. Poor pig.
The poor pig, still hungover, maybe still a little bit lit. Sadly, got hit by a truck.
No, he didn't, did he?
Yes. Now, it had markings on its ear, which means it's probably a feral pig.
This is a public service announcement for drinking too much.
I'm telling you, that pig...
Teenagers, pay attention.
That pig needed a buddy.
He needed a
That's why you take a designated driver. Yeah.
Why is that funny? He got hit and killed by a truck.
So this is what a lady, Marita, who witnesses, said. Then he went and raided their rubbish. And there were some other people camped right at the edge of the river. And they saw him running around their vehicle being chased by a cow. Apparently, the pig showed up several nights in a row, causing chaos and helping himself to anything he could find.
Oh, my hell. That pig went out in a big way.
Oh.
What's the lifespan of a pig?
I haven't a clue. But I like that the pig got drunk, picked a fight with the cow, started digging through people's trash.
Oh, my hell.
It ends sadly.
So funny, though. That's not nice at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's a designated driving pig.
Oh, it is a sad, sad story.
Oh, it's too funny. Oh, okay. Today's show.
Now to go on to the sad.
We're going to talk about Eric Clinton Kirk Newman.
Eric Clinton Kirk Newman.
Yeah. So, born July 24th, 1982, decided to take on the name Luka Magnotta.
Rocco.
That's right. It sounds Rocco. It sounds sensual. So, those of you who've
Just
never...
looking at his picture, it reminds me of, remember on Police Academy, the Blue Oyster Cult Bar?
Yeah.
It was like the gay bar where they all dressed in leather and like leather straps and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's wearing a flamboyant tank top.
So he's born in 1982 in Scarborough, Ontario, the son of Anna Yorkin and Donald Newman. He's the first of 3 children. He's the oldest. And according to him, his mother was obsessively clean and would routinely lock her kids out of the house so that she could clean the house and it would remain clean. I've thought of that.
It always goes back to parenting.
Yeah.
Always. All these sociopaths and crazy people, it always goes back to parenting, or did you not?
Right. So he goes on in some of his writings and some of his ramblings, he says that his mother once put the rabbits out in the cold and allowed them to freeze to death because she was tired of taking care of them, and the kids were forced to watch these rabbits freeze to death. His father...
I got a question. When a sociopath appears, can we arrest the parents with them? I mean, North Korea is a horrible place, but they go 3 generations.
3 generations.
Can we just go 2 and then maybe dig deeper? We may have to go 3. We may have to dig up ancestors.
I think we need to get ahead of this because I think that there should be a requirement of basic child rearing knowledge that you're required to know and pass before you're allowed to have children. I know that seems like it's
full
a,
statist.
yeah, it's an
Just you got to
an-
go before the courts.
it's an unalienable right.
I
but-
want to have a kid. Who's your old man? Well, he's right here. Okay. Well, we've got to have
What
7
if-
judges sign off to have him unsnipped and have you untied.
What if it starts in like kindergarten, and we teach how to be kind as a course,
Oh, I definitely.
and then
no,
first grade
it starts
we
at home.
teach empathy.
Peaceful parenting, step
Yeah.
1.
So anyway, his dad's a schizophrenia as well, diagnosed in 1994. So shortly after
And they
he's
found
born,
each other?
yeah. Well, shortly after he's born, his dad's diagnosed, and after his parents divorced, he moved in with his grandmother.
Okay.
So in 2003, so that would have been at the young age of 19, he began to appear in pornographic videos.
Homemade stuff, or was this professional?
Well, professional in
Ooh.
a sense. Occasionally working as a stripper and an escort. He also appeared as a pinup model in
What did male strippers strip to? Because I understand female strippers strip to that "She's My Cherry Pie" song. Male strippers, what do they got?
I don't know.
It's a good question.
So he appears as a pinup model in a 2005 issue of Toronto's Fab magazine. He's using the pseudonym Jimmy, and he's a successful or semi-successful competitor in a reality TV series called Cover Guy. Now, he's had multiple
Perfectly
cosmetic
normal.
surgeries, auditioned for Plastic Makes
Completely healthy
Perfect.
behavior.
Yeah. So this started really young for him and grew into something that I don't think anybody could have predicted.
No?
2005, he would have been 21, 22 years old. His first conviction. He's convicted of 1 count of impersonation and 3 counts of fraud. So it was applying for a credit card, impersonating a woman.
Okay. Perfectly healthy.
He pled guilty and received a 9-month conditional sentence with 12 months probation.
Canada deals with their criminals wisely.
So then he legally, at this time, changed his name to Luka Magnotta. Following this, because he had a terrible name, he given his charges, the life he was pursuing in television and such didn't fit with that anymore. So in Canada, you can just change your name after that. So he did. Now, Magnotta.
So if you commit a crime in Canada, they automatically say, "Do you want a different name?"
Yeah,
Pretty much.
could be.
Huh. All right.
As you leave, like, you may want to pick a different name.
That's not a sign that you're cutting crazy people loose on the general peace-loving society.
Don't get me started.
Go on.
So he creates these many various profiles on social media and discussion forums, and a variety of claims about himself. He claims to be in a relationship with this one Karla Homolka, who's a really high-profile Canadian convicted murderer. So he wants to be associated with these terrible people right out the gate. It's like he created this new persona. And for most people, that's as far as you knew of what was going on with Luka Magnotta until a video popped up on YouTube. And the video, it didn't have a name to it. He didn't name it. But what it was, it came up in 2012. So we're talking 7 years after his first conviction. Who knows what he did in that amount of time.
So he's what, 28 at the time?
Right. And we're not sure
He's
how
starting to
old the
lose
video is.
That youthful glow that drew all the men to his dance pole.
Yeah. So he titles the video "One Boy, Two Kittens."
Mm-hmm.
and it's disturbing. I've never like watched the video. I've just read the cliff notes.
I wouldn't suggest anyone
Right.
seeks it out to watch it. And if you do, just go to your local sheriff's office, check yourself in.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Seek therapy. I'm not a proponent of prison time, but if you're liking that stuff, please do everybody a favor.
It's an extremely brutal video where he actually suffocates these cats using a plastic bag.
Yeah, 2 little baby kittens.
Yeah. And what happens, he didn't expect either, or maybe he did. Maybe he was just simply looking for attention.
Trying to get caught.
And I don't think he was trying to get caught, but I think he wanted to be well known for something, and he kind of went down that road. What actually ended up happening is a group of internet sleuths came together and broke down his video.
Yeah, they tracked him down.
And they located him.
Not just that, but they also built a profile that was strong enough that it was used in court.
Right. So
these sleuths, kind of personal heroes of mine.
They wouldn't let this go. They kept looking at this video, watching it hundreds and hundreds of times, picking out things that they could then pinpoint where he was at, and then linking those things to other videos he had uploaded to track his whereabouts.
Yeah, they correlated everything and shot azimuth and back azimuth. And
so there's a pretty well-known Netflix series based on their hunt for Luka Magnotta, not on everything that he did. It's got a lot of his highlights in there, subsequent to this, but it's called Don't Fuck with Cats. Because there's a huge community of people that just get on YouTube to watch funny cat videos.
And
they're so harmless. They're just funny videos of cats.
What if it was that lady
things.
that tracked him down? Remember that original YouTube takeoff video where the baby kitten's laying there and the lady would open her hand up and the kitty would open its arms up?
Perhaps.
And then she'd tickle the kitty's belly and the kitty would chew on knuckle, and then she'd open her hand up and the kitty would open its arms up.
So they were pursuing animal cruelty charges.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, there's no teeth in Canada's, or even the United States for that matter, the system that advocates for animals. There's really just no teeth. Even if you're found doing horrible things to animals, you usually just get a fine, slap on the wrist. Now,
hasn't there been some move to have felony charges come down with that recently?
There has been, since the dog fighting incident.
Yeah.
But even that, he barely got a slap on the wrist.
I think it's, I'm a proponent of liberty in all aspects of life, but come on, let's face it. Serial killers all have animal torture in their past.
Right. It needs to be seen. I think the problem we have is if you give the justice system an inch, then we have chicken farmers who are held to the flame, and we have cattle farmers who are held to the flame.
I've got to eat kale more.
Yeah, but by the same people that go into your grocery store and purchase these products, So I understand that it's a difficult path to walk when we eat animals, which could be seen as barbaric if you're a vegetarian.
I just like the idea of societies deciding their limits and then ostracizing those that cross them.
And this group
what if
set
Luka,
out to do that?
What if Luka, after this found out, his gas station wouldn't sell him gas?
Right. His landlord kicked him out.
Amazon was like, no, we're not going to sell to you. They banned him. eBay banned him.
Gucci said, you'll not wear any of our stuff.
Gucci said, yep. Goop said, we're not going to let you watch Gwyneth Paltrow.
Goop.
I need to dive into Goop deeper. That's
Yeah, you do that.
I have some thoughts. But anyways, and what if everybody, and he was ostracized, and your punishment was you're on the outs.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing, like say a guy abuses his wife and or kids.
I mean, if we lived,
and then we give the power to the wife and or kids in a way by saying, you guys are welcome here, but that piece of shit's not.
and I think therein lies the problem is serial killers would conduct themselves how they normally conduct themselves and then move away.
Well, serial killers, I mean, when we find them, we throw them in jail, we, convict them. I still think communities can do that.
Yeah.
I just think the process of capital punishment in some communities might be quicker.
Sure.
Like,
well, there's that story about
you killed how many? All right, I'm going to use a 45 so that it doesn't mess up the wall on the other side of your head.
Arguably, there's communities doing this inside our prison systems. There was that story this week.
That guy that said he's killed 2 child molesters.
The details of that came out. The child molester was watching PBS and taunting the other members in his cell block. Watching PBS saying, I get out soon, and taunting them. Mm-hmm. And, people have come to his side on this, saying, he really did us all a favor. I don't know if that's the case because,
Yeah, it's one of those things that.
But I would agree that that's likely what would happen if a community were allowed to.
I'm still interested
manage
in
itself.
In that, what is it, Ohio chemical castration thing that's going on?
That's a strange subject.
They need to follow that. If you want to do a case study, fine, but put a scientist on it.
Well, they say that Michael Jackson was chemically castrated when he was young.
Yeah.
And how did that turn out?
Panned out well for everybody involved there, I'd say.
Yeah. So I think that it's a psychological or traumatic issue and not a hormonal issue that can be solved by chemically castrating.
That's the question.
Yeah. So he goes on.
All right. Sorry. Got off track. Sorry.
They find him and they go to the local police department and they're like, listen, this is what we found. This is where he's at. This is what he's doing. Here's the video. They can't really do anything about it. They can't. Okay, we'll check into it, but they're kind of just pushed aside until that later that very year, an international student from Wuhan, which is in the news right now, big time for the coronavirus.
Yes.
We're gonna kind of break that down.
Umbrella Corporation and all that has released the plague upon us.
Yes. And they have found that particular virus has some man-made attributes.
Time for a culling.
Yeah. Anyway, he comes from Wuhan. He's an undergraduate in engineering and computer science, and he works at a convenience store. Now, the media called him his boyfriend. But the people who knew June the best said that wasn't the case, that he really had just met Luka just because he worked at a convenience store, and Luka had invited him back to his apartment. May 27th, he goes back to his apartment, and the next day his boss is like, June's always at work and calls his family, and God bless his boss for doing that. He was reported missing on the 29th. There was an 11-minute video uploaded to bestgore.com. Now, bestgore.com is, from what I understand, primarily cinematic, fake creations of necrophilia for people who were really into that.
What?
Yeah. I didn't go to the actual website, bestgore.com. You may go down a rabbit hole. It's all one word. But
Please don't get me started down wanting to see this stuff. Okay, we're going. Necrophilia.
yeah, so sexual, it's got, yeah.
Oh, sweet. All right, folks. Those watching.
We apologize. Anyway, he downloads it to this particular website and he titles.
Okay, we're going to have to. This is no.
It's a bit much.
Yeah.
He titles the video
Can't do it.
One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. And he uploads it. Now, it's immediately noticed by people who frequent this website that this is an actual murder that's taking place. Now, in the video, there's a naked male tied to a bed, and he's being repeatedly stabbed with an ice pick and a kitchen knife.
Oh.
And then the video goes on. It's 11 minutes. 11 freaking minutes. He dismembers him and then performs acts of necrophilia. And in the background, the song True Faith is playing.
He stabs and murders the guy. And then
yeah,
does his thing.
So
oh.
It's the following day.
Hug your kids, people. Hug them.
The following day,
Feed 'em.
I don't know how this attorney got this in. Okay, maybe the attorney's really into this. I don't know. We're not judging. But an attorney in Montana.
Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing repressed.
Attempted to report the video to Toronto police because he could see that this video was from a Canadian user.
Okay, so the attorney, as they do, is just surfing the web when he stumbles onto a website.
It was an accident. He was looking for the articles.
Then you have to say, yes, I'm an adult and want to enter. Click, click.
Yeah.
And then
he
starts scrolling through the videos and then selects one that has a label to something of
One Lunatic, One Ice Pick.
One Lunatic, One Ice Pick. And then hits play, and it starts out with a guy having another guy tied to a bed. And then
he watches long enough.
Continues
I know.
down the path of murder, and then watches
it was an accident.
The appropriation, and then maybe restarts the video
just to see if it's real.
And
he's like, those cinematics are great.
Then opts to say, oh wait, there's a common trope that after a guy watches his choice of pornography and has his thing, that he feels disgusted with whatever's on and shuts it off. It's a common trope amongst the joke community. I would dare say that after said Montana lawyer got done with his 15 seconds of fame, that he felt gross and decided to turn him in.
Probably. Sadly. He attempted to report the video to Toronto police, his local sheriff, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but the report was dismissed. He's like, this video on Best Score, this site that I watch, it's a necrophilia site. It really must be real.
The FBI went,
listen, we got better shit to do.
You watched that?
You're a what? An attorney?
We're not going to investigate that because that means one of our personnel would be subjected to watching that you watch. And it says on your computer you watched it 4 times?
Yeah. But other viewers,
How long between when it was made and when it was reported?
a day.
Okay, so it was quick.
It was quick. Other viewers also reported to local police, local sheriffs. They could see that the user who uploaded it was Canadian.
Okay,
so
hold
the
on.
Toronto police
So
are receiving tons of
this site
reports.
has enough people to where more than
Mhm.
one person watched it?
Many,
People,
many, many, many.
go on.
So the Toronto police finally, it gets into the hands of
I would
someone.
expect that site to say, thank you to our viewer,
Yes.
period.
No.
No pluralation in
There
any
are there are thousands of videos uploaded daily to this site.
thousands.
Thousands. There are thousands of downloads daily from this site. It is a thing. Finally, it gets into the right hands. A Toronto police officer.
I'm not doing okay. I'm not. This is the state of our world.
I know. Why? I was just listening to String Theory this morning, which I find extremely interesting, but it
Yes, okay.
doesn't take into account this weirdness.
Nothing takes into account this weirdness. This morning I was down the conspiracy hole, and she's normal.
Yeah. So this Toronto police sends it on to their tech guys and says, I need you to verify. And they verify that, yeah, this is time stamped. And listen, this is real. This is an actual murder you're watching. Before they can even identify who the murderer is, who's being murdered.
When they come in and said, okay, someone has to watch this and to investigate it, they all go, 1, 2, 3, not it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, that'd be me. No, not me. Not
That's
me.
a terrible
No,
job.
I quit. I'm going to go chase feral drunken pigs. No.
So it gets worse.
Oh, goody.
Before they can identify anything, a
Uh-huh.
package arrives at the headquarters of a Conservative Party of Canada. The package had an extremely foul smell, and it had a red heart symbol. And inside...
So the bomb squad's called.
Inside was the left foot. Was a left foot. They still hadn't connected all the dots. Because they've got, as far as they're concerned, they're not even connected at this point. They're like, okay, we've got a murder and a dismemberment. We need to locate these body parts. But they're not connecting the dots that this left foot that's delivered to the Conservative Party of Canada belongs to them. Another package later that day containing the left hand was intercepted in Canada Post processing facility because it was stained with blood and had
Where
a
is
really
it
foul
going
smell.
to?
It was addressed to the Liberal Party. And a janitor wandering outside of the building that he sees to discovers a decomposing torso inside a suitcase left in a garbage pile behind this apartment building in Montreal. Now, he first noticed the suitcase the day before, but it wasn't picked up due to the large amount of garbage that day, so it happened to be there the following day. So this is all happening very, very quickly. And it's happening in such a way that finally the police are starting to connect the frickin' dots. Now, had they just listened to the don't fuck with cats people and went after this guy, they would have saved June Lynn's life.
At least go talk to the guy and let him know, hey, we know your names.
Right.
You sick fuck.
Right.
I mean, you can't go after him, but you can at least show up and say, we
know what you've done. We're watching you.
My name is, what are they called? A Royal Mounted Harvey Hoser. And he may not have done any of this shit. Had they just,
right, persuaded him to behave better because he was under surveillance or something.
Man, grab your torches and pitchforks.
Right. So after searching the apartment building where that suitcase was recovered, they recovered more remains, bloody clothes, papers identifying Luka Magnotta. Like his paperwork was there. Like driver's license, birth certificate, strange things that you wouldn't find were there with the bloody clothes.
Like he was trying to get caught and become famous.
Or like he really just thought he was so good at this that they would go out with the garbage and they would never find where it came from. So they also find the blunt objects, sharp and blunt objects that were used in the surveillance or in the video, and they look at the surveillance cameras. Now that's eerie to watch. You can pull up the video footage from the surveillance cameras, which in lots of places, but Canada's getting right up there with the UK. There's surveillance everywhere, that closed circuit television. You see Luka walk into the apartment building with June, and then later that evening you see him wearing the shirt that June Lynn had on, and he's making all these trips to the garbage down in the basement area of this apartment building, just trip after trip after trip. And then you see him pull behind him. He's very calculated. He doesn't seem in a frenzy. He casually walks out, pulling behind him this suitcase. So they searched the apartment that he was renting after they watched the surveillance, and he'd been there 4 months. And when they get there, the apartment was basically empty. However, they did find enough biological evidence in the bathtub, the mattress, the refrigerator, and on the wall, written in what they believe was blood or red ink. It says, if you don't like the reflection, don't look in the mirror. I don't care. So,
Crazy person.
Yeah. May 30th. This is moving fast, especially when it comes to murder investigations. Now the Toronto police are connecting the dots. So they immediately start doing testing on the body parts. And May 30th, just a couple days after the body parts were delivered, they confirm that June Lynn they had come from June Lynn. And in the package sent to the Conservative Party, there was a saying. It read, 6 body parts have been distributed and the perpetrator will kill again. So, June 5th, we're talking after they've already identified these other ones, another package containing his right foot is delivered to a school. And then another one containing his right hand is delivered to an elementary school in Vancouver. So the DNA, we just know that these are all connected, but the DNA comes back and it matches up that it's June Lynn, and his family was notified on June 13th.
I got to lighten up the story for a minute. Good God.
Luka is a sick.
So I've watched the videos from Wuhan of the weird food they eat.
Oh yeah, the bats and the crustaceous things that are still alive,
and puppies and whatever. If you're an international student from Wuhan, where do you find your traditional food in other less culinary explorative nations?
Yeah, we don't eat like that. You need to adapt.
Who does?
You got to adapt. If you come to other places, you need to adapt. You don't find that.
Some places eat spiders too. Come on, seriously.
It's so gross.
That part on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Mm-hmm.
They pull the spider off, and then they cut the snake open and a whole bunch of baby snakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not that that's real, probably, but.
So following this.
All right, back to the.
They issue an arrest warrant for Luka Magnotta because they've now identified that it's not Luka Magnotta's body, even though his credentials were found with the body. that it in fact is Junlin. So they know that this Luka Magnotta is in some way, he has something to do with this. He's connected. Interpol issued a red notice for Magnotta, and his photo was on the Interpol website, and it was requested that he provisionally be arrested pending extradition back to Canada. Now, in the meantime, he had booked a flight from Montreal to Paris using a passport with his own name. And he arrives in France. His cell phone signal was traced to a hotel, but he left by the time the police arrived. So it's like this big chase. They chase and chase and chase, and they almost catch him 4 or 5 times until he's in Berlin and he walks into the wrong internet cafe. He walks into this internet cafe, and you can also see this video online. He's bedraggled after all of this running and being chased. And I mean, he is just war-torn. He saunters in, he looks around. The guy behind the counter plays it really cool. Says, "Can I help you with something?" He's like, "Yeah, I just need to get online." He's online updating a new social media thing on how he's a model and this and that. When
Got to maintain that career.
the Berlin police show, and they are not messing around. These German police, they show up in the video. You can see them. There are 3 deep, and they file into this internet cafe, and they talk to the guy behind the counter, and it's over before it even starts. Luka's caught. It's not one police officer that shows up. No, they are in full gear. They go in, they take him into custody, and he's extradited back to Canada. So, preliminary hearings, June 19th, 2012. He appears in court by video link and pleads not guilty to all charges through his lawyer. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Next hearing is not until March 11 of 2013, so almost a full year later.
Remember when we talked about aliens and stuff, how fun the show was then?
Yeah. This is
a Bigfoot show?
Yeah.
I wonder if there's any new Bigfoot sightings I could look up real quick.
There are some great Bigfoot sightings we'll have to cover.
Bigfoot sounds.
Now, he goes on pleading not guilty.
Bigfoot scat.
But he keeps changing it. First he says that it was provoked. Then he goes on to say that it was required of him by a person he'd been talking to online by the name of Debbie Kuhn. The same lady in our last show.
So that
had been emailing and creating all of this, like,
that's that tickle show. The
yes.
tickle, the
tickle
motto.
Yes. So he goes on to say that, and then he claims diminished responsibility due to mental disorders. Now, I would agree he's definitely mental. I don't believe that diminishes his responsibility, but he's mental. After a 12-week trial, including 10 weeks of hearing testimony, the jury of 8 women and 4 men give him a life sentence. However,
let me go through this life sentence.
He's eligible for parole in 25 years.
Okay, Canada, you very nice people.
Oh, Canada, you crazy people.
A 25-year sentence plus 19 years to be served concurrently.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, for that. He's a horrible, horrible person. And let me tell you, this wouldn't have ended with June had he not been caught. Had he really been as cool as he set out or thought he was, there'd be many more in his wake. Not to mention that the trial expert testimony.
First of all, don't give your kid 4 names. Eric Clinton Kirk Newman, the third.
Yeah,
whatever.
stop it. That's where it all started. He was independently diagnosed by six different doctors with borderline personality, antisocial, narcissistic, paranoid schizophrenia, and paranoid schizophrenia. So he's clearly a danger, not just to himself, but to other people. And
here's his names: Vladimir Romanov.
Yeah. Very
Mattia
Russian.
del Santo.
Yeah.
Jimmy, Justin, Angel. Kirk Trammell.
So this activist group that started this whole thing with the don't fuck with cats, had there been any teeth behind that, likely we could have saved maybe not everybody's lives, but June's life for sure. And in recent news, this was reported by The Sun UK, which I find to be somewhat reliable. I mean, it's not the worst of the reporting. Anyway, Luka Magnotta, and they go on to say, who ate his victim's body with a knife and fork, met his new lover on a...
Did he eat any of...
Now, I don't believe so. He performed acts of necrophilia, which may have included some feeding, but mostly not feeding.
I think that with the proper ambition, Canada, you could, for a limited time,
look, I mean, for those of you
borrow our pedophile killer. You could borrow him.
You could
on loan.
He's easy to find.
We could take care of some of your problems.
If for the viewers watching this video on YouTube, Jared's scrolling through the thousands.
I'm not showing it because there's this
thousands of Luka Magnotta images online. He really thinks he's all that. And if you watch some of his early interviews, it's painful how narcissistic he is. Painful. At any rate, he joined a dating website. After signing up for the dating forum Canada Inmates Connect, Inc. We have talked about prison love.
We did a whole show on it.
This is for Canadian inmates. In June of 2015, the killer has fallen for an armed robber, Anthony Jolin, who is serving life for stabbing another inmate to death in the shower.
Anthony, it's not going to end well for you in 25 years.
Anthony.
This guy does not
now they're set
show a proclivity to host home parties gingerly.
They were set to wed in 2015, but there's not been any updates. So either the press has got bored with old Luka because he's really not that cool. Luka, you're not that cool. Or it fell through. But his dating profile is still up, and it says single white male, single white male who's seeking single white male, 28 to 38 years of age.
Also, he's a bigot as well.
And then he goes on to say white and in shape. He just wants to make sure. He says single white male who is seeking single white male, white and in shape. He also goes on to add he's looking for someone who is loyal, educated, financially and emotionally stable for a long-term committed relationship. If you think you could be my Prince Charming, send me a detailed letter with at least 2 photos.
I need to have an emotionally stable man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Luka, you are a sick dude. Sick dude, and Canada. Don't put people like these back on the street. He's not getting better there. There's not a rehabilitation taking place. He's a sicko.
So let's see what's going on in the latest alien news because I need a palate cleanser.
There was a
There's some fireballs in
see if you can
West
find the
Virginia.
video. Ring doorbell catches alien abduction.
Okay, Ring doorbell, alien abduction.
So everyone knows about these Ring doorbells. They turn on when there's movement. So any kind of movement within the field of view starts the recording. So if you watch this video, this doorbell cam, they usually do a 30-second blip. So for those viewing on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. For those who want to watch it at home, it's called Alien Abduction Caught on Tape. They play the
Okay.
so you can see the front of the house, and then the guy walks out, turns the camera on.
Oh, and then he looks like he shoots up. They beam him up, Scotty.
Right.
Oh, I'm so happy that this video's there to clap.
To cleanse the old palate.
Oh my gosh.
So he walks out. He gets maybe 5 steps down his walk.
Yeah.
The video appears as though it stalls out. And then there's a white light that goes from where the man was standing up into the atmosphere.
Yeah, just boom, shoots up.
He's gone.
Yeah, so go check that out. I am sorry that Betsy did this to you.
Luka.
Betsy
Listen.
is a bad lady today. Betsy.
We need to know about these people.
Mm.
What if you're on a Canadian inmate dating site and you come across Luka Magnotta and you don't know? This is a public service to you.
What if you're on
Canadian
an
inmates
inmate dating site?
and you don't know? You don't know unless you know. We have to tell you.
It's a public service announcement to all the normal people looking for love.
Oh, anyway.
Oh, that guy's...
He's a creep.
Oh, it's heinous.
Yeah.
Heinous.
Luka.
Remember, when you go to your therapist, it's spelled Betsy.
That's right. That's right.
And then mention how Jared tried to salvage your sanity at the end of the show.
That's right.
Alien talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to please like and rate on
iTunes.
On iTunes if you can. And last week's was the last week that we went up under the Weird Obscure World podcast. Now it's only under the WoW Pod.
Yeah, so be watching as the WoW Pod. We're continuing our relaunch. We're just going to keep funneling all of the previous episodes up along with our new recorded episodes.
Yeah, so we've slowed down a little bit so we don't inundate people with crazy, but you may have to, or you don't have to, but you may be subjected to stuff you've heard before. Hopefully they were enjoyable the first time, and ahead of time I would like to apologize for the sound.
Some of them are okay.
Although I'm still a novice, I was a very novice then and didn't know what I was doing. Still don't, but I'm getting a little more.
It's getting better.
Yes. And reach out to us on Facebook if there's any shows you want us to never cover, please. Ever. I'm writing myself 3 notes today about I don't ever want to talk about Luka Magnotta again.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're working on another fun show. Got a fun one coming up. I'm wondering which direction to go with it. Do I want to interview her or just talk about it? Because I don't know. I don't know if I talk about it, I can have more fun with it. If I interview her, I have to bite my tongue, and then it has to go in a jar, and it has to get sent to Gainesville, and it has to go underneath someone's house.
It's a thing.
Maybe that's where the tongues came from.
Perhaps.
Sad podcasters who had to keep their mouth shut, get their tongues clean off.
Oh, jeez.
Mailing them to, his name's probably Howard. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great week.